So how are we doing today? Let's just be honest, okay? Put our, you know, let's be honest. How are you doing? You look
I'm
pale.
doing I'm doing fine, and I feel good, and I feel energetic, and I'm excited to talk with you because there's so many things about you that people know, and then there's so many that people don't know. What is
Yeah.
it with you? I mean, your hair is it's just fantastic.
It's looking better these days, right? I've been using mane and tail. You ever heard of it?
No, but
It's a
that
horse
doesn't.
shampoo.
Well, I figured it was some sort of animal that had four legs,
Yeah.
but I didn't know which were the four.
Well, I've been getting my blood drawn every week as well, and they inject it into my scalp, my follicles, just to stimulate the follicle growth. So
And that's
not a lot of
that's
people know that. Yeah.
well, a lot of people don't understand that that's masculinity squared.
Right.
Because if you can take control of your masculinity, you can shape
That's
it. You can
right.
put it in the form of a big blob, and
I'd even go further and say it's quadrupled. In masculinity speaking. Yeah. Are you part of a men's group? Because those are really in vogue right now. Men's groups. Trust falls and zip
right,
lines with men. Yeah. Yeah.
right. I meet with men. I meet with men.
Young men.
I, I meet with all men.
Yeah.
Some of them are young, some of them aren't. But just as far as a glacier thought about things in general. I mean, where are we? We're probably all many, 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 many years old.
Are you worried about the glaciers melting, or is it just me?
No, I don't think that's something to think about. You know, one of my what do you call it? One of my clients came up to me the other day, said I'm identified.
Identify as a glacier?
One of my no, not a glacier, but something else.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering. I've been thinking about this for a little while. I was hugging a tree this morning, and not at the base of a tree, kind of midway, and I thought, we're all just one and the same. The tree, myself, and there really is no separation. The molecules, that I contain, and then the molecules of the tree. But I was just wondering, thinking about identity. How do you identify as? What do you identify as?
Well, let's just speak in terms of absolute reality.
Yeah.
There is no absolute reality. One of my clients came up to me the other day. He says, "I identify as a lobster." I said, "What kind?" I said, "What kind?" He said, "A rock." So it's difficult. It's difficult to quantify what you're actually thinking when you don't really know why we're here,
Yeah.
other than a divine intervention.
Yeah, I have a terrible shellfish allergy, and I once had a really bad bout of food poisoning, and Montezuma's revenge they call it, and just haven't touched it since. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I can relate to that. Yeah,
And why haven't you touched it? And also keep in mind you can touch something with your feet. You don't have to use your fingers if you
that's
have
true.
fingers.
I forget that. I'm also always reminded when I meet with you. Last time I met with you was at a conference for peanut butter. You were on the Skippy side. I was on the Peter Pan. But one time, I'm always reminded just to sit up straight, keep my back straight. That's one of your first rules for living, I believe. And your 12 rules, but this is the number one rule. My posture is very important. But what do you say to people with scoliosis? It's a bit
I say
ableist
get
of you. Yeah.
people with scoliosis. I mean, I just
Yeah.
say get the hell out of the way. I mean, if you got something like
Yeah.
that, maybe it's best to sit on your side. Now, I'm not a
Right.
physical therapist, and I've never done any work as a actual doctor, but as a physical specimen myself, I can see that sometimes it's better for me to be on my side.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better for me to not be on my side.
Do you sleep soundly on your side, or are you more of a back sleeper?
I don't sleep. I
No.
don't sleep anymore. I stopped.
Neither do
It's
I. It's such a waste of
it's a
everything.
waste. It's a waste of
Yeah.
time, and it's
Yeah.
it's also a physical manifestation of things that you do on a regular basis. So if I'm going to have a burrito, it's not going to have flour tortilla. It's going to just be a burrito.
Not okay. Just a
It's going to be
burrito.
the inside of a burrito. Some people put it in a bowl. I never put it in a bowl. I put it in my hand.
Yeah. Yeah, that's called a burrito bowl. Yeah.
Well, it's
You just
called
put
no,
it
no, it's
directly
not
in your
no,
hand.
it's
So your
not
hand
called.
is the wrap. Your hand is the wrapper.
I think you're asking the wrong question
Okay.
because it's
Steer
not a
me.
bowl.
Steer me towards the right question.
Well, I'm trying to.
Okay.
But it's not about the bowl. It's about the hand because eventually it's going to go to the hand. So why not just put it in the hand?
Yeah.
And if you got a paper towel, wrap that around your other hand. Use it as a mitt.
Do you ever take some of the burrito to go, or you just have it all in one blow?
I'm already gone by the time I go. There's no,
Yeah.
it's no, again, you might be asking the wrong question, and you might be
Right.
asking the wrong question to the wrong guy.
Well, I'm talking to you. By the way, last time I called you, I actually sent you an invite to go spelunking with me, and I just went radio silent. There was nothing, no correspondence. Are you bad with communication? Are you
No, I'm
poor?
bad with spelunking. I don't even know what the hell it is. I might have not said it right just now.
Cave dwelling. It's rock climbing in a cave, and we use ropes, and it's quite intense. But I thought you were up for it.
Well, I'm very tired. Like I said, I
Yeah,
don't sleep, and all I do is eat meat. So
yeah,
I don't have the physical prowess and the physical manifestation of being able to get up and do what you want me to do.
yeah. Are you
I
off
don't.
the depressants, the Valium and the Xanax? I hope you are.
Well, I am, and I'm not. I take one and then I don't take the other, and then I
You
switch.
you
I kind of
dabble. Yeah.
I play devil's hand with it because I don't think I should be on the stuff anyway. So I take this and I
No.
take that, but eventually I take everything in the right form. But
Yeah.
at first I get off on the wrong foot
Yeah. Do you have a
on
do you have a
purpose.
I've never looked inside your fridge, but I imagine it's just full of condiments. Is that the case?
It's actually the case. Yes, it is most, and that's only because I got a new fridge. So there hasn't been we haven't been to the supermarket like we should have been, but
Yeah. It's
I
always
enjoy
tough
it.
to it's always tough to find the right setting, for the fridge, the temperature.
Well, if you're going to go look for that sort of thing, I don't look for that
Yeah.
sort of thing. I mean, my daughter just got malaria, and
That's rough.
her hair turned green.
Yeah. Do you,
But
you
then
don't have a mosquito swatter around? You don't ever swat for mosquitoes? I'm surprised that happened.
I do, but I don't use it for swatting
What do you use it for?
mosquitoes. I use it for just,
Shock therapy?
well, I like to trace. I like to trace it on paper and then paint it.
Yeah. I like that. I like the way your mind thinks. I like the way, all these ideas just bounce around your head and just
Well,
suddenly spew out of your mouth without even thinking.
well, I think to use the word spew is a gross exaggeration. And what I like about you, if I can say so boldly,
Please.
is the movie Magnolia, where you played what was termed to be masculine toxicity.
Sure. Misogynistic, if you will. I was performing with legends, titans of the industry, and I believe I stood out in that film. Right? Wouldn't you say? I should
Well,
have
I
won the
think
Oscar that year.
in many ways you did, because you don't have to win something to win
That's right.
something.
I won the People's Oscar.
You did,
Yeah.
and
Everyone knows it. Yeah.
well, it was a very convincing role, and it made me think
Yeah.
that there must be something about you that is true or rings true about all those things.
Yeah.
I know that you're a masculine guy because I've seen you, you know, jump your motorcycle off of canyons and things like this. And,
Yes. Hanging off the side of a building, climbing to the top of the Burj Khalifa, running in a sandstorm. I've done it all. Yeah.
and what's your mental mindscape for doing such endeavors? I mean,
Well,
what do
the
you
other, I'll tell you what I do. I'll tell you what I do. I recently been doing some cold plunges, Wim Hof method. We're focusing on my breath, keeping the temperature at 25 degrees, and making sure it's all slushy. It's important to have slush in your ice bath. And I try to stay in for a good 10 minutes, just at the brink of hypothermia. And then I get out and I feel just like $1,000,000. And then I go into the sauna, sometimes walk on hot coals. I skip to the loo, my darling. I do a lot of different things
Well,
for my mental state.
well, if you skip to the is what do you say again?
Skip to the loo, my darling.
If you skip to the loo,
Yeah,
you're gonna have to reset.
that's
And
true.
what
Sometimes I skip to the loo and poo. I know you don't like talking about poo,
I don't
but
like that kind of
no,
talk.
I know.
I love that kind of talk.
You actually sent you love that kind of talk.
I do.
You
I
sent-
do.
you- yeah, tell me.
Well, it's rufflage
Yeah.
or roughage, whatever it is.
Well, it's important to expel the wastes and to release the toxicity.
right, but it is that, but it's not just that, but it could be,
No.
but it might
But it
not
could
be.
be. It's not all there is. I'm not trying to confine it to this one thing, but it's it's important. It's important to expel. Yeah. What do you think about gender pronouns? I know I don't want to get too deep and too heavy here, but I was thinking, your whole fascination with gender. Do you also have fascination with, gentrification and other gens? Any gen will do, How about Glenn Libet?
I don't know him. I
No?
don't know him. I've never met him.
No.
But
Okay.
I could say this for a fact,
Yeah.
that when you have a certain discipline, and that could be waking up in the morning and have a glass of water, or
Sure.
walking to your stove and just turning it on and leaving it there,
Yeah.
or just pacing around listening to old episodes of Sally Jesse Raphael.
The
If you're
habitual
do-
loop, yeah.
If you're doing that sort of thing, it stimulates something that's much younger in yourself that you didn't see before.
A bit of muscle memory and habitual
it's-
loop, it's important, yeah.
And it breathes.
Yeah. So what are some of the habits you do every day that really keep you, in a good place, in a
Well,
higher place?
I try to eat meat. I try to eat a lot of meat. I try to eat too much meat.
Exotic gamey
Well,
meat?
it's exotic to me. Every piece of meat is exotic because you don't know really what the story is of the carcass, or how it became a carcass.
That's true. Yeah.
So,
I
I
usually know the source of where my meat comes from. I
Or
try
do
to
you?
eat. Yeah, I try
Yeah,
to
but-
eat locally. All my, I have farms on the periphery and the outskirts, like a moat around my home. I know where everything comes from.
Yeah. Well,
I know
what's
the
the
names.
point?
I know the names of the beings I eat.
What's the point of being local though? If we're all foreigners, this isn't our land. We're moonbeams. We come from another planet,
Yeah,
and now we're down here. We might as well eat meat.
that's true.
So it's a physical manifestation. It's a gross cultural manifestation, and it's something else. And I don't know what it is that it is for you, but it could be multiple different things. You like board games?
Oh, I love board games.
Okay, so
How'd you
there
know?
you go. Well, I'm just a lot of people like board games, but they don't
Yeah.
know what board game to play. They don't know which board game they like.
Any resource management game is really up my alley.
I don't know. But that's
Accumulating enough roads or sheep or I'm talking about Settlers of Catan. Have you ever played it?
I've never played it. I've never heard of it. And I almost have a feeling like you're making it up, which I like because that's you stepping out on a ledge, which I like.
It's all about agency. These board games, you either have some agency, which is free will to choose, or you're rolling dice. And Settlers of Catan, you're rolling little dice, but there's a little strategy involved. I like to have that balance in life. Risk, for instance, when you play Risk, it's all about rolling of the dice. There's very little strategy. The strategy is set up. You're determining how you're going to take over the world, but mainly it's a game of chance of rolling the dice. So I'm not privy to. I don't really appreciate the game of Risk. I like things with greater agency. I'm a
Right,
free agent. Yeah,
like an actual agency,
that's right. Like a a CAA or William Morris Endeavor. Yeah.
or just a cultural exchange.
Or cultural exchange, yeah, there's so many different agencies out there, really.
And you have a juxtaposition on all of this. You understand what it takes to pick up a pile of dirt.
Yeah, that's right.
And to ride a motorcycle.
I try to get dirty. I try to get my hands deep into the ground, at least 2 feet every day, every morning. I try to get to the substratosphere of where things are at to get my feet dirty. I always walk barefoot, not even in vortexes. I just walk barefoot wherever I go.
But it brings you closer to the earth, and
It
it
does,
puts you
it
more.
does.
It puts you more in touch with earth.
And
when
if
you
I
can
bleed,
feel
I
it.
bleed. If I can, listen. I'm willing to take the risk. If I bleed, I bleed. If there's glass, that I didn't, take into account, so be it. So be it.
Well, so be it, and so oats, and so diamond studdeds on your bell pants.
Yeah.
Have you ever worn bell pants before?
I try. Bell pants. Are you talking about bell bottoms?
I'm talking about bell pants. I'm talking about pants that have bells on them.
Oh, that literally have bells that jingle. As I walk.
They don't. Well, they jingle, but they don't jingle jangle.
They don't
It's not
jingle. Yeah.
It's not Christmas time.
No, it's not Christmas time, but there's still a little bit of a. Basically, it rings whenever I strut, whenever I walk. A certain rhythm, it beats with me, in a way.
Right. Well, everybody's on their own path, but at the same time, we're all on the same journey.
Yeah, we are.
And we're we're minced meat, and I want to bring it back to meat again, because minced meat
Yeah.
can be great as a collage.
Yeah, and I don't
But
mince words. Yeah, I love that word, mince. I love a mince pie.
Well, if you do, then you understand where it comes from.
I do.
It's a bigger piece of meat.
Yes.
So that's the bigger picture of what we're doing on this planet. I mean, you and I have both, during this interview, have sort of breathed in deeply and breathed out deeply, as if there's some sort of stress
Yeah.
with us.
That's right.
And we're not able to physically manifest an actual breath. So we're doing half breaths,
Yeah.
because there's a bit of a nerve thing going on.
That's true. That's true. Well, we're talking about our morning habits. Everything I do when I wake up is to center myself and to make sure that my nerves are not on fire.
And you have a bit of a short temper. Could you explain that, or maybe address that?
Well, you could say I'm bottled up inside. I'm the future of this industry, and I get it. I get it why people would think that. I've had some outbursts, not as much as some of my other fellow thespians, but I've been learning to manage them. Going to anger management helps, and just speaking to young children, learning how to stay in childlike wonderment, how to be in the moment, I'm eating more pH balanced diets, because I feel like the acidity is really causing issues. You are what you eat.
That's
Yeah.
that's
Dark
placed on you.
greens. Dark greens are really important.
That's placed on you by the culture that we live in.
Yeah.
You're taught to have to adapt, and you're not adapting. You're doing.
I'm dying.
Because
Am I dying?
You're dying every day, or
Dying
maybe you're
every
already
day, yeah.
dead. You already could be dead.
I could be. Yeah.
I mean, the idea that we're alive is it's a
Remarkable.
diabolical construct.
Truth. It is. It's all
It's
a
not
construct.
well. It's a truth in the sense that it's truthful.
Yeah. Let me talk to you about something. Been meaning to talk to you about. What is your take on Squid Game, the reality show? I'm wondering. The show is a phenomenon, right? But now they're bringing it to the real world. It's a reality show with real contestants. Are we taking things too far?
Well, I think we are taking things too far if we're driving too far, or we're walking too far, or we feel like we're far away.
Yeah.
So I think we are. I think people take things too far all the time.
Yeah.
And there's even a city called Too Far, and it's in India. And people go there just to get away, but they're not, because
I've
they're.
always wanted to go to Too Far. Always. It's on my bucket list.
And some people pronounce it too fart. That's not right.
No,
There's no
no.
T.
There is not. No.
There's no T. So if you don't have a T, you don't have a fart. And I'm not
No.
saying tea. I'm not talking about leaves of tea in a glass with hot water. I'm talking about the figurative. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, an artist fart without the F. I get it. It's all about just those choices that we make. You either add the T or you don't add the T, or you add the F or you don't add the F. You got to make that decision. You got to be precise. Be impeccable with your word. Be precise.
Right.
It's one of your rules for living.
That is one of my rules.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I would say is you've got to be able to grasp something.
Like grasping at straws. Yeah.
Even straws.
Mm-hmm.
Grasp. Hold it.
Yeah, even if it's with two fingers.
Right.
Yeah.
Two
or
fingers.
your toes. You could grasp with your toes as well.
Well, some people can't because the dexterity isn't there.
No,
But
you got to work on that.
It's the effort. It's the effort. It's showing your work. Because you're not going to get a grade if you can't prove your work, because they're going to think you cheated off of somebody else, but you didn't, but you could have, but you didn't.
You didn't, but you could have. That's right. Yeah. I enjoy talking to you. It's soothing.
Well, it's a pleasure.
Ease.
It's a pleasure to talk to you too, because a lot of people have misconceptions about your life and how you've lived it and where it's going.
Yeah.
And people see photographs of you, and you look. You're in your 60s, but you've got a face that's just got a face on it. You got two faces. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Not in a bad way. I'm just saying
No.
it's a face.
So I'm not two-faced. I'm not two-faced. You're not saying that. You're not accusing me of being
Well,
two-faced.
again, I don't know, but I'm
Yeah.
not accusing you of it right now.
Yeah. Because I don't take accusations lightly.
Well, you don't take a lot of things lightly, but you're
No.
used to jumping off of ramps onto, into canyons. So who's going to
Yeah.
tell a guy like you to settle down? You
No.
just drove a motorcycle off a cliff. I mean, what? Where do you go from there? I mean, what is it?
I go
And
up.
where?
I go higher. I go higher, or I go lower. I sometimes, I'm looking to explore the ocean deep next, and I'm doing my next film in space on this at the International Space Station (ISS). Going to read some Dianetics in there, and read passages from Dianetics, and should hopefully get people on the pathway to going clear, crystal clear. So I'm trying to push the envelope, go and play like spelunking, go into dark crevices of the earth, and maybe go to the center of the earth one day. Dig way deep, try to get to China or Australia, and just try to test my limits. Go Mach 10 whenever I can. But what?
Well, I want to say it's like if
Yeah.
you're going to wake up in the morning, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with yourself? It sounds like you've got a checklist.
Well,
And you've
I'm
got
passionate. I'm passionate about learning. I'm passionate about life, and I don't care who you are. Life has challenges. Yeah, and when you have to cope with a lot of problems, you're either going to sink or you're going to swim. That's one of my favorite sayings. So what are you going to do? Your
well,
goose, your goose might be cooked already.
but maybe I didn't order goose.
That's
Maybe
true.
I ordered catfish.
Yeah, yeah. Catfish
Which
is a choice. It's a strong choice.
Well, it breaks
Yeah.
apart. It breaks apart into tiny little pieces. It's not
It's a
easy to
flake.
eat.
It's a flaky fish.
But you almost have to make a shake out of it. You almost have to blend it.
Will it blend? Of course it will. Yeah.
Everything blends eventually.
Everything blends with the right rotor and the right blade. That's true.
But but,
Hmm.
but again, where does it come from? What does it do? What do you do when you're not doing what you do?
I do. You know.
And don't say meditation because I don't want to hear
No,
that.
no,
I want
no,
to
no,
hear
no.
where you're coming from,
Yeah, where I come from, where I'm
where
going.
you come from, and
Yeah.
that is from the moment you crown as a child and you're birthed
Yeah,
to the minute you showed up for this interview.
yeah. Where I
There's a
come
lot in
from.
between, but you're not going to think about every damn thing in between. You're going to think about the last 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I play this game. It's pickleball. It's become very popular. It's sort of like old people. It's popular with elderly, but it's a shorter game, smaller. Everything's smaller, and it doesn't require as much talent or skill.
Everything's
Help me.
smaller than, but everything's smaller than what?
Than than the traditional tennis racket or tennis court.
But what's traditional about it? What's
You just shrink. Everything's shrunk, and it's just easier to get into it. You don't have to follow so many rules.
right? Well, but if everything shrinks, maybe you're just in a cold pool.
That's true. Yeah.
Maybe you're just
Yeah.
in a
Well, we all grapple with shrinkage. How to dabble, how to deal with shrinkage it's an issue that faces us. Yeah.
and to what extent? What extent are we responsible for shrinkage? And how should it make us feel?
Well, we try to take more control of our inadequacies in life, and try to get to the core of the root cause of it. And that's why I've been listening to a lot of your videos, and they really have helped me. I'm somewhat of a lost soul myself. I discovered some things about me that work, but many things are just, I'm completely lost, and I come to you for that salvation. So thank you for that.
Well,
Really.
you said it yourself. You said it in so many words. Help me, help you, help me, or whatever
Yeah,
the hell it was. He said,
help me, help you, help me, help you, help me, help you, and I just keep going back and forth. I don't even know what I'm
and that's
saying.
what I was going to say. Why do you keep going? You've already said what you're going to say. If you're a real man, you would just
Yeah.
leave it at that and let them
Yeah.
figure it out.
I often feel I'm hanging on the bottom rung of life, and of the ladder, and I'm just trying to climb that ladder, but I'm just hanging by mere fingers, and it's a terrible feeling. I feel trapped. I feel confined. I feel like I'm just choking on air, and I'm not breathing. I'm not able to breathe, and I need to. Breath is so important. It's vital. You know.
Well, it is,
there is life in every breath. You know.
well, I disagree. I think you're asking the wrong question again.
Okay.
Okay, because
Steer
I can hear wherever you are right now. I can hear an airplane, and it
Yeah.
could be your airplane.
Yeah.
You see, because when I asked you what you were doing, you said hung. You didn't
Yeah.
say hang. You said hung first. So
I said
there's a
hung.
sexual manifestation in you that has something is trapped. Something
Yeah.
is trapped and but also left exposed. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing. But
That's
for you, I
true.
think it's probably a bad thing.
Yeah. You know, I've noticed that. It's funny that you brought that up because I use the word, tainted a lot in conversation. You know, this is tainted that, this is tainted this, and maybe there's a root cause for that too.
But it may be the root cause is an actual root. Because a lot of people don't look under the houses for different roots. I mean, nobody's going and looking for roots. It's only after the root has done the damage do you go, oh, there's a root there. So the root of the cause is a root, and that's basically a faulty line. But you can't pull the line out because it's just a metaphor.
Yeah, fault lines. You know, I think about that too. I think about buying real estate on a fault line because it's such a good deal, and it may never happen. You know, it may never happen.
The earthquake.
Yeah, the earthquakes. Yeah, it just may never happen. It may never come to fruition. You're getting a really good deal, sometimes 50% off the market value. Why not take the risk?
Well, it's like
That's
saying
how I
I'm going to
think.
buy. Yeah, but it's like saying I'm going to buy a car, but it doesn't have any tires.
True, but you can always get cheap tires. Throw them on there. It
Not
lasts the
for-
day. You know, it's like buying clothes at what's that? You know, you buy it once and it's what is that place? Zara. You know, it's like buying clothes from Zara.
Right.
Just for the
right,
day,
right.
just for the night.
Right. It's very telling that you
Yeah,
use something called Zara
disposable.
because well, it shows that you have an aptitude to go on the internet and look over things.
I do.
And where does
do,
that
I-
come from?
You know, just part of the new human condition of scrolling and impulse buying and sleepless nights. You know, we don't sleep. I suffer from insomnia. I'm just I'm laying down with the remote controller with my phone ready to purchase steak knives or whatever, you name it. Just part of who we are. You know, and I'm not trying to generalize, but this is just something we're all afflicted with. And I'm just grappling and dealing with it just like any other human being.
But you're doing a good job, and you've done
Yeah.
a great job for years and years with all the movies and
Yeah.
environmental work, etc.
I manage to keep it together in the public eye, and I do my tours, through all over the world and take pictures with fans, and I pose. I'm not a poser, but I pose with fans, and I do the walk. I walk the walk. I talk the talk. I wear those boots. I wear boots for height. To sometimes just to maintain height requirements amongst my staff. I just try to have that maintain that visibility of being, slightly taller than my my Wikipedia entry.
And also slightly taller than all the people that work for you. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. So in my contracts, in my riders, I have rules for living myself. I don't allow people to upstage me in the height department, okay? Because that can be very distracting on screen. I need to be at the same level, if not higher, than my comrades.
Well, that's digging for roots. That's getting back to what you just said. It's where's the root? Where's the problem? You
Well,
don't
sometimes I dig for roots. Literally, I dig ditches so that when certain actors who didn't agree to the rider, they now have to walk in ditches next to me. So now they're lower, but we get to the root of the problem there. Yeah.
whatever you have to do. I mean,
Whatever I
this
have
is
to do
this
to
you have to
accomplish
do.
that, yeah.
I mean, you're not doing anything sinister. It
No,
just
no,
sounds
no.
like you're organizing people by their height, and
It's
not
my way,
necessarily.
my way of exactly.
But
It's
how
just
smart are these people? I mean, do you take someone that's less smart but shorter, or taller but? I mean, how do you do it? How do you
Yeah.
know who to pick?
I juggle a lot of attributes, and I try not to have anyone too intelligent, to be honest. So I go for actors like I haven't worked with Brad in a while, but Brad was a choice I made. He was taller than I am, less intelligent, but I put him in a ditch. I was on platforms, he was in a ditch, and we evened things out. Yeah,
Well, it's your life, and I think
it's
that you
my
do a
life,
lot
and
of
I gotta
things.
I gotta live it the way I want to live
Well,
it.
don't feel like you have to do anything, because you don't have to do anything in this world. All you have to do is
No,
exist. That's
that's
a
right.
principle. That's a sound principle. It's just to exist. And if you get hungry, you eat something. And if
To
you get
exist and
thirsty, you drink.
to exist and to find some meaning in that existence.
Right, but it's not the most important thing to do. I think the most important thing to do is open up your door, walk
Yeah,
outside,
yeah,
and sniff around and see
yeah.
if there's anything for you that's worthwhile.
Or if there's something foul, then I move in the other direction. If there's something foul smelling, I try to avoid it. But if I'm hungry, I eat. If I'm thirsty, I drink. I live a very purposeful existence.
Right. Let me ask you this: what would you eat, or what did you eat the day that you jumped that motorcycle off the cliff? What did you have for breakfast?
I soaked my chia seeds overnight, and I had chia pudding in the morning with some dirt from outside. Just try to get as much minerals as I can, real minerals from the ground. And then I sprinkle some goji berries and golden berries. You ever had a golden berry?
I've had many golden berries, and they're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
golden either. They're red,
No. Yeah,
which
they
is
can be.
it's alarming.
Yeah, throws you off a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking I'm going to eat something that's golden. Then I open up the pack and it's all red. But that was the first time. But I wasn't fooled the second.
Yeah. Yeah,
But it
I
could have
see.
been.
Whenever my golden berries are red, I return them to Trader Joe's and get my money back. And then I often bring them up to the counter and say these should be golden, and I go get some more produce and return them. Then they give me a discount. They're very nice at Traders. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. I'm thinking of goji berries. Those are
Oh,
red.
you are thinking of goji berries are
Goji
red.
berries.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Golden berries are typically what as advertised. Yeah.
But I've taken the collision course of not eating anything besides meat. I'll eat
Yeah.
meat, but I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to eat a cantaloupe. I'm not going to eat some spinach. I'm not going to eat, pasta or whatever. I'm going to eat meat. And if that means me waking up and eating just the paws of a cougar, which I
Yeah.
can get, but I won't tell you where.
Did you say
If I
cougar?
just the paws, though, I'll eat just
Oh,
the
the paws of a
paws.
cougar. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
See, you won't tell me where you get the cougar paws?
Well, I won't tell you where I get the cougar. I'll tell you where I get the paws
Okay.
from the cougar, but not the one you're thinking about. I get cougars and I get paws, but they're not at the same time.
Not one and the same. Yeah, there's a
Well, I
lot of
don't.
cougars. A lot of cougars frequent Hollywood, so I know where to find cougars.
That's your own. That's the manifestation Tom Cruise has.
Yeah,
That's where you're going. Is where you see you're going,
that's where I'm going
and
with it. Yeah.
it's not risky business.
Well,
It's regular business. It's business as usual.
yeah, true. Have you noticed is it a voluminous amount of spiders have been roaming around, big furry spiders. One flew on my neck the other day, fell from the tree and fell on my neck, and I swatted it away immediately. I was careful not to kill it and to injure it, but I nearly got bitten by a spider. Does that ever scare you? Are you fearful of spiders?
I'm fearful of a lot of things, but I don't show
Yeah.
it. And when you don't show it, you don't grow it, and you don't manifest it. You kind of just let it go.
So are you a grower or a shower?
It depends if it's cold water or not. I mean, I would say I'm a little of both.
Yeah.
I would say my testicles get quite big, but my
Oh.
my main shaft is I don't want to get into my main shaft, but my main shaft is another book I'm kind of writing about.
Oh, you're writing a whole book on it, huh?
Well, it's pretty big area.
Yeah. Are there 12 chapters?
I get a lot of this 12. I did 12 because it's 12 days of Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're heading towards Christmas again. So
we
I'm going to
are.
be able to pull that bag of tricks
Right.
out.
That's right.
Parallels.
Rabbit. That's right. Parallels. What are you doing for the holidays? Any special plans?
Well, I'm probably going to eat some meat.
Yeah.
Probably eat a lot of meat. Might have a porterhouse. Might have filet mignon. Might have just like I said, a paw
A
off of
paw.
a jaguar or a cheetah.
Sure. Sure.
It's actually very good and delicious. And if you put marmalade on it, it's even better. It's almost like orange chicken.
I love orange chicken. I love MSG. I really do. I know it's gotten a bad rap, over the years, but just can't get enough of it. Just flavor. I love flavor.
I love Hot Pockets, but I'm not
Oh,
gonna.
me too. You're
I
not gonna
used
have
to
it every
like.
day.
Well, I'm not going to eat them, as much as I used to because
No.
they used to be a lot better. They used to have real meat in them. But
Yeah.
I don't want to go on and on about that. But it's
What are they using? What are they using these days?
well, I don't know, and I don't care. And again, I think you're asking the wrong question. I think the question is, why did they get so damn awful over the years? Why did they?
Why do they get?
Why
They
did?
get. They're always a little bit too hot too.
Well,
They instruct you to put it on. Put it in for 30 seconds a minute, but it's always maybe a little bit too much. Don't you
And
think?
yes, and it's always the illusion of fresh baked bread.
Yeah, I burnt the roof of
Fresh.
my mouth many times. Fresh baked bread. That's a tongue twister.
How do you say it again? Fresh baked
fresh
bread.
baked fresh baked bread. Yeah.
Let me do it again. Let me try it. Fresh baked
Try it
bread. I can't do it. But that's why I'm a doctor, and I just can't do certain things.
No.
But
Do you have a runny nose? Is it flu season?
Well, you can't go into that area because of course I have a runny nose.
Oh, okay.
It's because I eat so much damn meat.
I'm just observant. I'm sorry.
It's
Yeah,
hard to
that-
process it. So you overcompensate. Your body overcompensates for it, and
Yeah.
it runs too fast, and there's just too much leakage
Sure.
out your nosage.
Yeah, out of the nosage. When I was getting a massage yesterday, and whenever I am placed dead, face down, my nose runs and I get stuffy. I have a hard time communicating with my masseuse, and maybe this was a issue with communication. But I was face down, and I went with a man this time. I usually go with a female. I went with a guy. We'll just call him Brad, and he did something, and I wanted to get your opinion on it because I've never been treated this way by a masseuse. Usually they ask you to take everything off except for your underwear. So he put my underwear down past my buttocks, down to the bottom, and I don't understand why. I don't
I know
really
that
get
guy.
why he did that. Him?
I remember him. Yeah, But he's joking around. He doesn't want to do his job. He just wants to do it the way he wants to do it. He doesn't want to do it the way they want to do it.
The issue is that I couldn't help but think, I couldn't quite relax the entire time because after that happened, I didn't raise any alarms. I didn't say, why'd you do that, Brad? Why'd you take it down? Usually you take it down halfway, put the sheet underneath. But he took it down the full way, and I didn't say anything. But I was thinking the whole time, when is he going to take it too far? When is he going to cross that boundary? So I had it in my head that entire time, and I'm just wondering your opinion. I mean, do you ever let it go that far?
Well, I did, and I remember him.
Yeah.
And it's also I can justify not giving a tip when something like that happens.
So
And if it happened in a massage room in an airport, I would have probably, got my money back from my ticket and went to another place. But
I thought about that, Jordan. I thought about that. I thought about asking for a refund, bringing it up to management. But, I'm such a good guy. I ended up tipping him through Venmo. And guess what he did? Brad friended me on Venmo. You can friend people. And he
Right.
gave me a smiley face with a wink. And I thought that was a little bit much. I thought he was really pushing the envelope there.
right, well, a wink could be anything. A wink could be from an emoji. A wink could just be something in your eye. And maybe it's something not too. Maybe it's just pollen from an olive.
Maybe it was innocent. He had something in his eye, allergy.
Maybe it
season,
was,
sure.
yeah. Maybe one eye was innocent and the other one wasn't. But you can't judge someone on something unless
Okay,
it's
you're
both
right.
eyes.
I withheld my judgment, but I'm just having a conversation here. I just want to know your point of view, and I appreciate that, giving me that other point of view. It's important to listen to other people's point of view. Okay, and that's something I'm getting better at.
Well,
Taking inventory.
I think you are. I think you're taking inventory, and I also think you're also finding out the real callus on your hands. Where did the callus come from? Was it from
Where
hard
did the
work
callus-
or from stress? Because stress will cause just as much callus as holding a hammer. You have to understand that it's it's a gross exaggeration of what you want to do with yourself. You
Yeah.
know, you could play, like you said before, you could play a board game, but why?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with that? Where are you going with that?
That's such a profound question. I'm glad you asked that. You know, it could come from guitar playing. My steel string guitar could produce it. I do rock climb. You know, occasionally I masturbate, so it could come from that.
Listen, and be careful with yourself. If the calluses are too big, maybe you don't want to go touching your junk. Maybe you just want to,
That's true.
you know, maybe you just want a hug.
Well, you
And
could-
sometimes a hug can feel real good if you do it right. And even if you do it wrong, it feels great. You know, either
That's
way.
true.
It's just the touch
I
of a
wish-
human body.
I want to give you a virtual hug right now because I know you need it, and I just want to be there. I'm here for you, Jordan.
Well, I appreciate that, and I really appreciate your time.
Well, you snapped right out of it. You snapped
Well, it's
right out of
because
it.
I'm getting a signification from my assistant that I have to leave now, and it's the end of the
Okay.
interview.
Okay.
But thanks
Fair.
for having me. Or thanks for I had you or you had me. I think we had.
I'm glad. Thanks for holding space. You held space for me. I held space for you, and we did it together. And I'm just greatly appreciative of your time.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Tom. Have a great one. All right.
Thank you, Jordan. You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Woo!